I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with metamorphosisconnections.com. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search metamorphosisconnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on metamorphosisconnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting metamorphosisconnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear tonight with a low of 15 below, wind chills of 30 below. Then Wednesday sunny with a high of 6 above, but wind chills of 32 below. Catch Milo Imagines the World at Children's Theater Company now through March 9th. On a crowded subway, Milo passes the time imagining the lives of the other passengers. See his illustrations brought to spirited life in this world premiere musical. Get your tickets now at childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Random reptoid or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me on, once again, this unnecessarily, ridiculously cold evening here in the Twin Cities. As Patrick said, well, it's not that bad. It's 7 degrees below zero here at the moment in the Twin Cities out here in St. Michael, though it feels like minus 17. As I said last night, who could tell the difference? Once you get into the negatives, I mean, cold is cold, right? I think it really matters how long you can handle being out there before like your eyelids start like freezing shut or something like that. It's unbelievable. And but it's Minnesota, and I'm fully expecting people to be like, well, you live in Minnesota. I know, I get it. And I'm getting folks in the comments saying, let's see, Len is saying freezing rain here in southeastern Arkansas, maybe icy roads for the next couple of days. That's scary stuff. I much rather have what we're having here right now than that, because I really do not like icy roads. Those are very, obviously very dangerous situation. There are people who know how to, drive on those roads very well, and I am not one of them. So I really try to avoid it wherever possible. And let's see here. Did you wear your shorts? You know what? Normally I would, but I've realized, and maybe there's some kind of scientific correlation here, that when I wear my shorts and it's, below zero, it's in the 20s, whatever else, I seem to not get better from any sort of colds or coughing or anything like that I have. And perhaps, just perhaps, that means that I shouldn't be doing that any longer. I love to wear shorts. Too much information. Pants are, not really my jam. But when it's that cold out, It's a lot. And even when I was outside for a little bit today, I'm like, boy, if I wore shorts, that would be pretty nasty for sure. That's cold stuff. Let's see here. As I cough, let's see. Chuck says we got 8 to 12 inches and of snow today, maybe more. It's been white out all day, and he's near Syracuse, but travel to Ottawa all the time. Just be careful, folks. I mean, it's tis the season, right? I mean, and just think of that plane yesterday that landed and flipped. It flipped, right? And luckily, all 80 passengers, none of them were killed. They all survived, which is thank goodness, right? But I mean, just absolutely, it's horrific. And I'm just pulling up that news story right now because I was trying to remember where it was. It came from Minneapolis, St. Paul Airport, and it flipped, landing in Toronto. And it's just scary. And there has been 87. Let's see if I got this right. There have been 87 confirmed plane incidents in the U.S. this year. So at the moment, I personally am not interested in flying. I hear people like friends are like, okay, we're gonna take a flight. Chad this week, he's taking a flight, I think, and it's just like, no, not my jam at the moment. I have nowhere to go, quite frankly. So it's I'm just kind of just sitting here, and I don't know, but I was going to have a guest on tonight, and as sometimes it happens, there's miscommunication and stuff. So we're going to postpone our guest, and our guest will be on at a later date, I hope. But one of the things that was sort of a kind of a mix-up here is they couldn't tell me what they wanted to talk about tonight, and it's like it's one of those weird things because I get this thrown back at me quite a bit. I confound guests on occasion because I'm going to ask them, what do you want to talk about tonight? What do you want to talk about? When I bring them on, when I ask them to come on the show, I will always be like, what do you want to talk about? And sometimes I know what I want them to talk about, and I'll ask them if they're going to do that, and they're fine with it, and they're not fine with it, or whatever. But I very often, even if it's something in the realm, like we know we're going to talk about UFOs, we're going to talk about, Lincoln or whatever else, I always just ask, what do you want to talk about? Because, and it makes some of them actually kind of annoyed with me because I get this thrown back at me quite a bit. You're the host. You should know what you want to talk about. And that's how they talk. They have they actually have that deep voice. And and I don't know why. But it's like, here's the thing. First of all, I bring on people on the show that I think are interesting and that I really want to be able to, get a good conversation out of. Secondly, my show is about as gentle as a show as possible, apart from some of the stuff we talk about when we're talking about demonic possession, or we're talking about, dark stuff, and we talk about a lot of light stuff as well. But my guests are always going to be first and foremost making sure that they are taken care of and that they're treated with respect and kindness. So part of that to me is like, I want to make sure that we're talking about what you want to talk about. If you want to pivot, send me a note during the program that I can read, and we can pivot to whatever you want to talk about, whatever. And it's not because I don't care and I want them just to kind of lead and I'm lazy or anything, because people who know I work on the show know that I'm anything but when it comes to the show. But the thing is, I really want to make sure that we talk about what the guest wants to get out there. Sometimes they'll be like, we had Renee on last week, and she's like, can we have like the last couple minutes talking about my book signings? Absolutely. Those are the things, because, this isn't about a gotcha moment as an interviewer. This is more of like, I don't like interviews. I like conversations. I want to be able to have a good conversation. Last night we talked with Sarah Jane from Get Haunted, and we had a conversation. And it was, I don't know if sometimes guests get a little annoyed because I do talk quite a bit, but it's also just a matter of being able to have, meaningful conversations, because we want everyone who's listening to leave with maybe a new point of view, or a different understanding, or just happy to hear the conversation. And that's really what I try to bring to these things. And so our guest that was going to be on tonight, and I hope that we can reschedule, but they were just like, it was actually kind of flipped, because I just kept asking them, what do you want to talk about? And they wouldn't respond, and they wouldn't respond about it. And one time they responded with good question. It's like, that doesn't help me. So I finally was like, you know what, let's postpone until we can figure it out. It doesn't mean that you're canceled from the show. I'd want to have you on, but I also don't want to go into a show that I don't know what we're talking about. That just doesn't seem to be a very good idea. Even though this is a show right now that we've walked into that I don't really know what we're going to talk about, but that's okay. That's a different sort of scenario altogether. What this is, though, and that's where I got well, you're the host, you ask the questions, whatever. It's like, yes, but we want to have a topic. That's kind of how this works. We bring you on, we talk about, we get a topic together, and then we talk about it. Not like, it's like 100 questions. Like, what, am I getting warm, or is this something that you're into? So, and this person has written a few books, and a number of books actually, and I think they're going to be great, but I wanted to get something a little bit more concrete than good questions. So that's always my mind, is to like, let's refocus and figure something out. And there's always lots to talk about. I mean, there's a lot happening at the moment. And one of the things that I didn't even talk about yesterday, it wasn't going to be the focus of any program, but yesterday was President's Day. And last week we had 2 really good episodes, I thought, one being a replay of talking about President Lincoln. And last Wednesday, we had Troy Taylor on, author, lecturer, researcher, and he has written so many great books. But the one that really got me smitten, if you will, is One Night in Washington, the true story of America's most haunted president. And it really opened my mind on what Lincoln was like during the Civil War years. Well, first of all, it opened my mind to what Lincoln was like in his youth, growing up, and if you ever read the book, and I highly recommend that you do so. If you read the book, he has lived a life before he even gets into any sort of political arena. I mean, he has done so many things. You're reading this and you're like, by the time he gets into the political arena, he has to be like, 50 years old. I mean, he nowhere near it, but he lived such a unique and an incredible life. And Chuck says, Lincoln was my favorite. Watched it twice this week. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Troy is amazing. And we're gonna what I was really excited about with Troy Taylor is that he wants to come back on. And that's if you don't know who he is, and that's totally fine. He is quite the presence in this field as far as an author and researcher, and they do events and all sorts of stuff. And I've been trying to get him for a few years, and it just didn't really work out. And finally everything aligned, and I think he had a good time on it. So we're really excited that we can have him back on at some point. I just got to find what's the next book to read, and that Lincoln book is really good. It really opened my mind, though, to the idea, and we barely touch on this in the episode, that Lincoln is very attuned to the supernatural. And as we talk about in the episode, the mainstream theory, the thought of it, is that it was always Mary Todd Lincoln, and that she was the supernatural one, that she was the one that believed in mediums, spiritualists, all that stuff. And that Lincoln, if he were to go to a seance or anything like that, that he was, basically, dragged to the seance. In the book, though, what we find is that he has been to a number of them. And in fact, he had a medium, his own medium, that was there to help him and the cabinet, his war cabinet, make decisions, important decisions on what they were going to do in the Civil War. And reading that was amazing. And it was also very beautiful to know that, because you probably all know my story of ad nauseum of me getting what I believe is Lincoln and Mary Todd Lincoln on the spirit box. And, to know and read that he actually was a spiritualist in his own way, and that the imagery, the experience, the gift of mediumship actually had been with him his whole life, down to his own premonition of his death in a number of different ways. And that was really incredible. That was such a strong and wonderful revelation for me. And I'm not giving anything away if you're planning on reading the book, because there's so much in there. There's so much information in there, including one that I wanted to talk about that I'm not going to, but I just thought it was really interesting about his son, his surviving son, actually was around 2 presidents that were murdered. And it just, you start putting the timing together and stuff. It's really interesting, very, very good stuff. And you definitely want to check it out here. And Chuck's like, I'd like to know when he does shows in his area. See if I can find this real fast, because I should have had this up if I'm going to be talking about him. But I wanted to bring up his website real fast for those who want to follow him. And, obviously, when you're doing live radio and you put in his name, his website, of course, does not come up. I mean, why would it? Why would that work when I needed it to, right? That's just how it works. His website is AmericanHauntingsInc.com. Make sure you go check that out to see all of his books that he's written, all of his events that he has going on. He does a lot, and it was a lot of fun talking with him. And that's available as all my episodes. Well, actually, the last 3 months, I figured out only the last 3 months at a time of my show is available on Spotify and available for podcasting. So anything over the 3 months, we're migrating all that over to Patreon. For it's as low as $3 a month. Patreon.com/GhostBox Radio. If you want to hear, and the thing about those radio shows, we're talking about the paranormal. It doesn't date, really, especially when you're talking about such figures as Lincoln, and we do a lot of historical shows as well. That it's always they're always good episodes to listen to. As it's just me tonight, I would welcome any questions that you have, anything you want to talk about, anything that you've been doing in the paranormal field that you think is very interesting, that you want to talk more about. Put it into the comments. Let's get a conversation going. It's a Just Greg episode tonight. And not only that, though, it's Just Greg with you. Let me know what you want to talk about. We have a lot to get through, and I can't wait to talk more about everything that's going on. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. What you wear is important. It should be fun, creative, and expressive of your own personality. At Grady Gear Company, we believe that clothing is more than just fabric and threads. It's a form of self-expression and a way to stand out from the crowd. Grady Gear is more than just a clothing brand. We're a community. We're here to inspire and motivate you to embrace your true self. We are a locally owned small business who do custom clothing orders too. Find us at GradyGearCompany.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
All right, we established already that it's cold outside. Now, are you looking for something to do this weekend? There's a lot of stuff going on. There's something else I'm going to be bringing up here in a second. But Lilliput in Coon Rapids has a new escape room called The Bunker, okay? And this is kind of cool. And this opens up this weekend. The story behind the room is you're in with a group of survivors during a zombie apocalypse. One of you ends up getting bit, and you are racing against time to get into this government bunker to find a cure and escape before the bunker AI locks you in forever. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, I like escape rooms, but this one seems like a lot of fun. The price for this escape room is $30 per person with a 6-person max. Recommended age is 10 and up. An adult of at least 18 must be present with all groups to sign a waiver. It's a lot of fun. It opens this weekend. And to get more information, go to lilliput.net. That's LILLIPUTT.net over in Coon Rapids. They're going to be opening pretty soon for mini golf as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. You got to check that out. If any of you are able to go, you should let me know. Send me a note if you go to that and check it out. If you go to the escape room also, please make sure that you let them know you've heard it through us, because we just want to make sure that they're supported. They're good people over there, and I just want to make sure that they know that we're supporting them. Now, Chuck says, excuse me, now that the year of the snake is here, should we give Moon Girl props yet for how things are going so far? I mean, it's only been 3 weeks. 3 weeks? What calendar are you on? It's been, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, she said for 2025. So it's been nearly 2 months. But for those of you who didn't see, Moon Girl, Mistress of the Paranormal, was on the program in December, and she gave her predictions for 2025. One of the things that she said, okay, is that there's going to be a lot of plane crashes. There's going to be a lot of stuff with planes this year, and it's just like, okay, not that and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I didn't believe her, but it's like, there's always, yeah, Chuck, I know 3 weeks since the year the snake began. I know, but she was giving predictions for 2025 though. And she was absolutely right about that. Another thing though, she said, which I thought, we'll see, look out. She's like, Ohio's going to have a tough year. And it's like, okay, now it hasn't been like the plains that there's been a lot of plain stuff happening, but in Ohio, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, there were 2 earthquakes in Ohio. How often do you hear about that? Hopefully that's all that happens in Ohio. I don't, no one wants to see planes crash. No one wants to see, Ohio get some nasty stuff because someone was predicting it. But this is stuff that Moon Girl predicted. Incidentally, since Chuck brought it up, it's actually Moon Girl's birthday today. So happy birthday to Moon Girl, mistress of the paranormal. She is great. She is a wonderful person, and I've been very very impressed always with her reading. She's given me a number of personal readings, and she's always been really good. Also, I'll tell you, okay, I am blessed this year because there's a lot of stuff going on that I'm taking part in, and we're not going through all of it, but I'm gonna pepper some in throughout the program because some of the stuff is coming up pretty quickly. Tomorrow, I am going to be on Debbie Romero's program, and it's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Central, and we're going to be talking about something I know a little bit about, and it's called a spirit box, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to actually run the spirit box tomorrow, something I haven't done in a very long time. You can go over to her page on YouTube at Medium Debbie Romero, Romero. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. I'm going to run the spirit box. We're going to do other things, and I think she's actually on Derek Acra's page as well, because she just sent me a note to tag myself in that, because I think she's on it. Either way, I will be posting more information to my pages as well. It should be a lot of fun, and I've always had a lot of time for Debbie. She is fantastic. Another wonderful woman who, fantastic medium. And I've just been very blessed with being able to work with her and some stuff, and seeing, really, I think there's been some really good things coming her way as well, that I've been able to see people who work hard, that pays off. And I'm happy to see that as well. Let's see here. Courtney in the chat says she's making a sandwich before the Mavericks ad comes on. We were just talking. This doesn't really help you, Courtney. I was talking at the station today about how we can maybe do some kind of small event gathering or whatever to get people together and have some Mavericks roast beef sandwiches. First of all, I think about food 26 out of 24 hours of the day. So you got that going for you. But I swear, if you haven't been down there, and I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial, but oh God, that's good stuff. That's really good. I mean, I'll even drive in this cold to go over to Mavericks. That's going to tell you how serious I am about the situation when it comes to that, because it's really cold. It's really, really bad. Shar says that Mavericks is so good. It really is. It really is. Now, speaking of Shar, this weekend, there are 2 Charvinity fairs. And I say 2 because they're actually in different locations. February 22nd, Saturday, is going to be at the Doubletree by Hilton, Minneapolis Airport, where we've always been doing them. And then on Sunday, the 23rd, we're going to be at the Sheraton Minneapolis West Hotel, which is at 12201 Ridgedale Drive in Minnetonka. And so you know, go over to charvinityfairs.com. You can see all the information. Once, as usual, she has a very robust lineup of practitioners that you're going to want to see. And let's see, every reader is offering a $20 reading option. So, you know, you at the very basic, you can hand over $20 to a reader. That's a very, very reasonable price. And you can get really high quality reading. That's for both days. And of course, Maria Shaw is going to be there for both days as well. So you want to make sure that you get there. $5 admission to both events. And let's see here. Maria's classes are separate from that $5 admission. And I'm just kind of going up and down the page, charvinityfairs.com. First 20 people receive a giveaway bag, enter for grand prize drawings. Making sure that that's the same for Sunday. It's the same. So I keep telling people, go do it. The only bummer, and I'm going to be honest, I know Char's listening. The only bummer is I'm not doing a presentation this time. I like to do it. I like to take part. I was going to do the one in December, and I know we found out a lot of people came out to see Char. They wanted to maybe check out my stuff, and I didn't go because that's when Linus got very sick. So it was. I had to, and it's a great decision actually, because I needed to be there for him, but I missed out on it. Char also says from 10 a.m. to 1 o.m. I know she means p.m. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Maria is doing 20% off her products on both days. She has a lot of products that you can go out and see, high quality stuff, really good stuff, and stuff you don't find anywhere else. So you want to go out there, take a look at that, check out her classes, Maria's classes for those days as well. But then, please come out, support the local practitioners who are so gifted, so wonderful. And a couple of these folks, I'm looking at the website now. I don't know if I know everybody on here. There's one I don't recognize. So always meeting new people. That's good. And I'll be out there, planning on being out there for both days. Not doing a presentation, but that's okay. But we're going to be out there. So stop by my table and grab a card, because I have a lot of them printed, and make sure that say hi and tell me a ghost story. Come on by, tell me a ghost story. Bring Mavericks, and we'll have a great day. So, folks, go to the Charvinity Fair Saturday and Sunday, and then that night go to Lilliput to check out the escape room. I mean, I have your weekend set for every one of you. Okay, that's just what I do. I make things happen on that level. That's kind of what it's all about. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sure. So yeah, no, it's really going to be a fun weekend, and it's not too cold to stay in. I think we're going to be in the 30s when we do the event this weekend. So yeah, there's a lot going on. My goodness, it's really great. It's really very cool. And I see Debbie in the chat as well. It's always good to see you here, and thank you for all that information in the private message. I will act on that, and thank you for sharing that with me. And Chuck is like, 30 degrees is a heat wave. It certainly is. It really is. And that's short weather now. Now we're getting back into shorts weather. Okay, 17, 20 degrees below zero. Yeah, maybe not, but at 30 degrees, I think it's fine. I really do. One of the things I want to bring up as well, because we're talking about the show and some things we have coming up, and I am really excited. We have so many great guests coming up here over the next couple of weeks. But one I really wanted to kind of talk about, I was really excited about this because Tuesday, March 4th, is Mardi Gras. Okay, that's Mardi Gras, and that is where we're heading into Lent, all that good stuff. I am going to have on as a guest on that day, I'm having on from New Orleans, Bloody Mary. Do you all know who I'm talking about? Bloody Mary, psychic medium. She, she's very deep into understanding of voodoo and other sort of areas like that. And I want to talk about the mysticism around Mardi Gras. So there's a lot of great things, and I want to know from you all, not you all, is who do you think? What kind of subjects do you want us to be talking about on the show? Are we doing an all right job over here? Is there like something that you're just like, you know what, you're talking, what you're talking about is fine, but I wouldn't mind hearing about this, whatever it is, and I would love to know. What are you thinking? What is it that you would like to hear about on the program? What is it that you would like us to try to cover? Who would you like us to try to bring on? Because I'm always interested, and I don't really ever ask because I just do it, right? I just bring in people, but I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this, and who you'd like to. It's like less TV people. Honestly, when was the last time I had a TV personality on? I think the last one I had on may have been Brandon Alvis from Haunted Discoveries, who I really adore. I think he's great, and we're gonna have something that's connected to Haunted Discoveries at an upcoming Ghost Stories and Beyond in May. We'll talk about that when we get closer to it. Other than that, I had on Dustin Perry a year ago. Because he came through with his traveling paranormal show, and that was fine. But generally, personally, I bring in a lot of authors. I think that especially when we're not doing always mainstream publications, I feel like that just opens the door for so many great books and so many subjects that are so much more niche than we ever thought that we would ever be able to have. Like Troy's self-published. He has his own publishing company, Troy Taylor. So he's doing all of these wonderful books. And just like when we had Renee on last week, it's not through a mainstream publisher. So we're getting these wonderful subjects and these, and another one that I really enjoyed was Paul Blake Smith. We've had him on 3 times. And if you may remember, he was the one that wrote the book that's about Richard Nixon showing Jackie Gleason aliens. The other one that he wrote was about Eisenhower and aliens. And then the other one was the conspiracies around the JFK assassinations. And these are extraordinarily in-depth and wonderful. And then, but yet at the end of March, we're going to have an author on that just published a book through Llewellyn Books, which is publisher in town here, but covers the market on all metaphysical type books. So there's a lot that we're doing here. And even in a couple weeks, is it even a couple weeks or it's just a week? I'm looking at my calendar here of guests that are coming up. It's just a week. We're going to have Rob Young, who is a mystery writer, and he's actually doing a monthly show on AM 950 about mystery shows and whatever. Shar says maybe some shows focusing on a variety of cryptids, ones less covered. That's certainly something that I think is really a good idea because there's a lot of them out there. And, just talking about it. And I thought, too, bringing someone on like Chad Lewis, we had him on a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about, different monsters in Minnesota. And I just think that, folklore or whatever it is, there's a lot there. Courtney says, I was going to say Dogman and Bigfoot. And Courtney, if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend go find an episode I did back in December with guest Morgan, she was talking about her experiences with Dogman that she had seen, kind of like Char's and my story and Denise and Ernie Pack's story of seeing Bigfoot at Fort Duffield. She has a very similar one regarding seeing Dogman, which is pretty compelling, and it's great. Why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to take my next break here. When we come back, let's talk more paranormal stuff. Anything in your mind, on your mind. I don't mean to say anything in your mind, on your mind. Put it in the comments. We'll talk about a lot more. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. What you wear is important. It should be fun, creative, and expressive of your own personality. At Grady Gear Company, we believe that clothing is more than just fabric and threads. It's a form of self-expression and a way to stand out from the crowd. Grady Gear is more than just a clothing brand. We're a community. We're here to inspire and motivate you to embrace your true self. We are a locally owned small business who do custom clothing orders too. Find us at GradyGearCompany.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
And speaking of Refined Divine, we are going to have her on tomorrow doing one question readings. Always a lot of fun. It's always good to have her on the program. That's going to be tomorrow, so get your questions ready. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about medical or law. So just questions about, love, money, stuff like that. If you want to get a full reading from her, you go to refineddivinepsychic.com to schedule a reading. These are just one question. These are kind of the hors d'oeuvres, and you can definitely come on tomorrow, and Adam will be in here. So if you want to call in, that's how people get preferential treatment. They always are at the top of the line, the front of the line. Please call in and ask your questions. And there she is. She's right there in the comments. You either your ears were buzzing or you've been watching the whole time. By the way, Deb, I was watching your live tonight. Deb does one every Tuesday on her Refined Divine Psychic Medium Facebook page on Facebook. Go check it out. What a healthy amount of people watching tonight. It was really fun to watch that. I'm glad that that's working out so well for you. And we are talking about a lot of different things tonight, and I appreciate you all listening. And Shar has said, are there any British authors about folklore from their area? It's a great question, but I can find some for sure. I actually, there's a friend of mine in the UK who we have a Doctor Who connection, but he also writes about like the Titanic. He writes about a lot of like local in the UK, local places. We've been trying to get together to get on for a long time. It just hasn't happened yet, but it will. But anyone of you have heard of Richard Estep? He is an author. He's a British author, but he lives in the U.S. And he has written a book that is now on television on Hulu. It's been adapted as a documentary, The Horrors of Fox Hollow Farm. It's called The Fox Hollow Murders. It's on Hulu. This is another book, kind of like the One Night in Washington book. I consider this one of the best books I've ever read. It is so well done. It is so good. And he wrote it a long time ago, like quite a bit. And before I was on AM 950 doing my show, I had actually had him on the program, but unfortunately I had flu and I had to cancel, and we just hadn't been able to get it figured out since. And I reached out to him last fall, and he definitely was interested. But the problem is, I think I'm busy. He's very busy. He travels across the country every weekend to a ton of Paracons and whatnot. So it's hard to get him, but he's very talented. And I'm going to check out the Fox Hollow Murders on Hulu at some point to look at. But the book is very good. It's very, very good. So there is that as well. But definitely I'm going to reach out to my friend Paul to see if we can get him on. And Courtney, just to kind of follow up, the episode that I'm talking about with the Dog Man did air. So hopefully it's still available to watch before it was taken down, because they only keep them up for about 3 months. Morgan Knudsen, we talk about Dogman. That was an episode from December 3rd, 2024. You might want to check that out. Once again, to anybody, if those episodes aren't around, please consider joining my Patreon. That's patreon.com/GhostBox Radio. And all of our episodes are being migrated there. We've got hundreds of episodes throughout 10 years of doing radio shows. So very proud of the body of work. Some really great programs there. And even the ones that aren't great, like the Disney expert we had on that we had to cut off during the program because he wouldn't stop talking. Those are worth a listen as well, I think. Let's see here. Esther has a new book called The Ghost That Saved America. Who's Esther? Is that I'm sorry. You're going to say, and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, how did I not know who Esther was? I don't know who Esther is, Chuck. But that's cool. I'm The Ghost That Saved America. I like that title, actually. I like that a lot. And I love bringing on authors. I really do. And we're going to have, y'all remember, Joe Prozit. He's been on a number of times. He's local in the he's actually out in St. Cloud. Met him at a St. Cloud Paracon. And I've never seen anyone work as hard as Joe to get people to read his books and stuff. Richard Esther. Okay. All right. Sorry. I know Richard Esther. I don't know Richard Esther, but I know of his work. And some of the authors that I reach out to are kind of like, no thanks, but that's fine. Can't always be, can't get everybody, but it's a lot of fun to try to get people on and whatnot. And I noticed that when we get to March, that March 20th is Alien Abduction Day. Okay. So you have on the 17th, you have St. Patrick's Day. And then on the 20th, you have Alien Abduction Day. And you're trying to figure out who I could get to talk on Alien Abduction Day. And if anyone knows how to get Travis Walton to respond to anything, that I would love to have Travis Walton on. But there's a lot of people that we can put on who has had a lot of experiences with aliens and whatnot. But yeah, so as Shar says, she says, yay, vacation in March, apparently. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it's a mandate to be abducted that day, or we just celebrate that we've been abducted that day. I think that's open to interpretation. Yeah, that's excuse me. That's by the way, I got a new pet, and it's called this cough. I've figured out that this cough is going to be with me for the rest of my life, and I just decided today, you know what, it's like a shadow. It's with me everywhere. I'm just going to call this my pet. I might even name it. I don't know yet, but it seems to be something that, and even when I'm wearing pants again and not shorts, it's still there. It's like the more I move, the more it actually the coughing happens, and therefore I resign myself to think that I shouldn't move a whole lot. I think that's kind of where I'm at there. So I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, so Wednesday we have on Psychic Medium, Refined Divine. Thursday, we are doing a replay of a more recent episode, actually. We're going to replay Liz Johnson from Mega's Books. We're going to replay her episode. We're talking about esoteric herbs. It was a fantastic conversation, talking about how you can reach spirits with using different type of herbs and stuff. Once again, this isn't something that you just do on your own. You gotta find people that can help you, like Liz, who can, number one, provide some really solid information, but also how to be safe about it as well. And so we're gonna have that back on, and then of course Friday, Adam will be with me. We're gonna do Casual Friday as well. It's always a lot of fun. This kind of felt like a Casual Tuesday, didn't it? That's just how it kind of goes around here. And I don't know. It's very interesting how this happens, where we are bringing in a lot of different people, and we're having these great conversations. And I love the fact that we are not just keeping it to spirits and ghosts, but we are talking about things like the herbs. And we're going to have Kadrick Olson back on next week talking about spiritual divergence. So we have this wonderful sort of potpourri of all sorts of different types of topics and subjects and stuff. So and I saw Chuck says that, let's see, Chuck, where did you go here? Where is Chuck? He thinks that some of the subjects that we've been having on work pretty well, to be honest, he says. So that's good. I appreciate it. I think that's when we're putting the show together, we being me, it's a lot of fun to try to figure out how we can do different things. One of the things that I want to do more of is I want to get into some more true crime stuff. Not a lot, but I want to talk a little bit more about certain cases and stuff. I find it very interesting. At one point, we were going to have Miriam Faresh come on and do some cold case stuff with us. That's one of the things that she really excels at. But it also takes a lot of work on a lot of people's ends, including hers, to put that together. So that might be a little too much, but we're going to think about it. And it's going to be, we'll figure something out, because I mean, that is one of the things that Miriam is very good at. She's good at many things, but to be able to do talk about cold cases, to talk about it on a metaphysical level, that is that's very interesting to us. But also one of the things that we'd want to do, because we already identified a couple cold cases that we wanted to do, but I feel like that we want to get the buy-in of the family to do it. I just, and that's something, and do some research and get some information as well. And it's so, because it just can't be something where you're just like, okay, here's a picture of somebody. What do you feel? I mean, you can do that, but there is more to it than that. And so we're trying to decide whether or not that will work, if that makes sense to work or not. So that is just that. So yeah, I don't know. I think that we have a lot of good things coming up here. And I have more events coming up here that we'll get to in the next couple of weeks, talk about a little bit more. But once again, folks, if you're able to, and we'll talk about this Friday as well, please head out to the Charvinity Fair, both Saturday and Sunday. And once again, Saturday, it's at the Doubletree by Hilton Minneapolis Airport, 2020 American Boulevard. And then the 23rd is at the Sheraton Minneapolis West Hotel, 12201 Ridgedale Drive, Minnetonka. You go to charvinityfairs.com. You'll get more information there. And as always, folks, if there's some topic you want to talk about, or if you think there's a guest I should reach out to, please send me a note at comment@ghostboxradio.com. There we can find these people, bring them on. All we want is great conversations. All you want are great conversations. Everyone, thank you so very much for listening, but also thank you so very much for listening all this time. Every show, you're great. We'll be back tomorrow with Refined Divine. Everyone, have a fantastic evening.